Okay, hi, it's video number 2. I'm putting this up a little bit late because I've had a weird day. I'm still in pain from my surgery on Monday, and I look like I'm pregnant. That's how swollen I am. I think I'm doing a little bit better today, but the painkillers I'm taking, I think, are making me lose time a little bit. Anyways, I hope that my video yesterday helped any of you that are trying to figure out what you want or come to a final solution of what door you're going to take. It's hard, and sometimes you know, but you're going back and forth until that very last minute. That was me. I was pretty much back and forth even though I've made the decision. It wasn't until the last minute. So my second video today is, okay, I committed to the surgery. My second video today is step 1 proctocolectomy with J-pouch surgery, preparedness and recovery. I wanted to prepare for this surgery, so I, was trying to think of all the things that I needed, and I bought one thing, and then I realized what I bought. I was like, oh, I won't need that until once I start actually using my J-pouch. So I really didn't prepare for this surgery. The only way that I would suggest would be mentally preparing. Prepare yourself to go through a hard recovery. Prepare people to be there with you for at least a week after you're out of the hospital. And there is something really cool. I should have brought them over to me, but I totally didn't. There is, and I'll put the link down below, it's Ostomy Secrets. I did buy 2 pairs of these. They're underwear specifically for people that are ostomates. They have them for men and women, and they're stylish. So they're not, you can wear them, they're cute, they're sexy. I got 2 pairs that were like boy shorts. And for men, they have like boxer fitted briefs and stuff. And then other than the boy shorts that I got for women, they had like really pretty lacy ones. They had thongs, and I didn't need those because I wasn't gonna be having the bag for that long. I don't have anyone to impress in my life. But the really cool thing about this, they were really expensive. They were over $30 a pair, but signing up as a new client on the website, I got a certain percentage off, and then I found a coupon online that got me some other percentage off, and then also those underwear happened to be on sale. So I got 2 pairs for $35 when I would have probably been paying $70 originally if I got both pairs. So they're expensive, but they're worth it. They're really cool. The quality is really nice, and they have on the very front part a pocket underneath it inside. So you can put your bag, tuck your bag inside your pocket, and it'll hold it in there. That way when you're walking, you don't have to worry about your bag hanging against you or tucking up underneath your shirt, people seeing the very end of your bag, or or if you wanted to wear a shorter shirt, people wouldn't see it. It also helps that if your bag happens to be filling up a little, it always feels like it's kind of pulling against you. In my opinion, it always felt like the ostomy bag was pulling against me, and it doesn't feel very good at all. So the underwear were amazing. I mainly saved those for if I was going to go grocery shopping, or if I was going out in public, or if I were having family dinners or something, because I only had 2 pairs. Other than that, I had what I call my big granny panties, my big Hanes panties. I just dressed comfortably the whole entire time. I maybe wore jeans once, one a day that I was really feeling good. But I still, even now, no, I'm not going to wear jeans. I'll maybe wear overalls, but I want everything open around my abdomen because you're bloated there and you're sore and you just want to feel good. So when I went in for the surgery, it's a big surgery. It's a big deal that they call you. They have all these exams they have to do ahead of time. They had to, like I told you at the end of my review, my video, first one that we just did, they had to do a rectal exam. They want to see how strong your muscles are right there. Your surgeon does, and he wanted to measure something. I think that I'm not clear on, so I can double check on that, or somebody else that's going through it can let me know or let you know. And that does screw you up for the rest of the time until you get the surgery. But that's okay, because that's the last thing they're doing, and, whatever, you're probably already on disability at that point anyway, leading up to your surgery. I was, and it didn't matter. So before that, they have all these appointments that they have to do throughout the month before your surgery date. They have phone call appointments. They even have a thing where you have to, it's like a test that you have to say what you're taking, what medications you're taking, what vitamins are you taking, what supplements. And then they have an appointment. And yours could be a little bit different than mine. Mine is through Kaiser Permanente. I'm sure things are similar elsewhere because they want to make sure that you're not on certain things, and they want to make sure everything's good before you go, because it's such a pretty big, scary surgery. So they also, and this should be anywhere, they have an appointment with your ostomy nurse. You have, designated to you your surgeon, your surgeon's team. You have an ostomy nurse. Your ostomy nurse is specifically responsible for your stoma, the small intestine sticking outside of your body, and the bag that goes over it. She is there to first measure you that like week before your surgery. She measures you depending on where your stomach muscle is, how high you like to wear your pants or your jeans, and she'll put an X, draw an X on you, or however she does it with a Sharpie pen, and then put a little plastic bandage over it to keep it there until the day of surgery, so you're marked. I know some people, when they have an emergency proctocolectomy, they don't have time to do that, so that's kind of done in the process when they're doing the surgery on you. But for me, I had that. So I met with the ostomy nurse. She was really sweet. I had to reschedule with her because I was having a bad morning, and bad mornings for somebody with ulcerative colitis, sort of Crohn's, means that you are having a crap your pants day all day, pretty much, and going somewhere you can't imagine because you'll probably soil yourself in public. So, pardon me, excuse me. So, when I met with her, she asked me, how high do you like to wear your pants? And I'm, up to here, up to my actual waist. I love high-waisted pants. They're like right below my, pardon me, they're like right below my rib cage. And she's, yeah, it's kind of high, but I was like, who cares? Don't worry, let's put it wherever, because I'm going to be gone for so long, and I'm not going to have this anyways. I was told originally only 3 to 4 weeks by my surgeon. Hence, this was before he realized how sick I was, because it definitely has been more than 3 to 4 weeks, and I am not back at work yet. So she ended up just feeling around, and she ended up doing mine on the right of my belly button, and she had me cough so she could feel where my muscle was, because they want to, the way to get your intestine to come through, it's going to be sticking out of your stomach like this. And the way to get it to hold it is to stick it through your abdomen muscle. And your abdomen muscle is what's going to keep it, its strength. It's going to hold it there. So that part is going to hurt. So she X'd that and everything. I had to keep it on, wash real delicately around the plastic film that they put over it. And then you get a phone call. They want to, talk to you, prepare you, like how, you're going to get there. You're definitely staying overnight. This is probably the first hospital visit the first surgery is most likely a 5 to 7 day stay at the hospital. That's what I was told. Mine was definitely 8 days. I got out on the 8th day, but I had a very hard time in the hospital. But from what I hear, I think most people it's about 7 days, because it's a really, really traumatic surgery. And then most of the people, you're really sick, so you're not only getting out of illness, you're getting out of a traumatic surgery. And so those combined together are just awful. So they ask you questions about your nearest relatives. Who do we need to call if anything happened? Do you have a belief? Are you a Christian? Are you Jewish? And I'm a Christian. Would you like a priest to be there to pray with you beforehand or afterwards? Yeah, I want, those kind of questions. It's very serious. So that's why they call you and they ask you those kind of questions. And they want to know how you're going to pay, whatever. And then you do get a call. This is versus Kaiser. It could be different anywhere. They always call you 2 days beforehand. Okay, we want you to come in at admitting at the hospital at 6:30 in the morning, where you'll be admitted, and your surgery will be from there. So my first surgery, they called me 2 days beforehand, and it was going to be 6:30 in the morning. I was Dr. Al-Qarashi's first surgery of the day. Actually, I think I was his only surgery of the day. That surgery, my proctocolectomy with the J-pouch, he put aside a whole day for me, just in case. Because sometimes being told the surgery is supposed to take 5 to 6 hours long, sometimes it could take longer. I've come across some people that I've met on Instagram that one guy, it took 10 hours when it was supposed to take 5 hours. So it depends. So we go in, my mom drops me off in front of the hospital. It's dark. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:15 or whatever. And they go and they park the car, and we're all prepared. Make sure that you prepare yourself in the hospital with what you're going to need if you're going to have a big stay. Books, blankets, anything that's going to make you really comfortable, like home, because I got really depressed. So just having those things there made me feel a little bit better. And definitely bring toothbrush, toothpaste. I personally would bring your own body wash. I wouldn't bring soap because that slips everywhere, and when you're disabled, that's not easy to handle. I would bring body wash and a loofah to just really get yourself clean, because the body wash they provide or the soap they provide, you run out real fast. And it feels good to be clean when you're miserable and when you don't feel good. It just feels good to be clean. So, I go in the admitting office, we talk about things, they put my band on me, figure out how I'm going to pay, whatever. And then my mom comes in, and then they tell us where to go, and it was in this surgery unit upstairs. So we register upstairs, just like you're going to register for a regular doctor's appointment, and I don't think I ended up having my surgery until 9:30 that morning. So, and I don't remember it taking that long beforehand. It was all the waiting for when we had to be administered is what all the waiting was. So after that, after registering, then they call you back, they sit you down, they take, a nurse takes your blood pressure, takes your temperature. She needs to take a urine test, needs to take your blood test real quick. And then she has to hook up an IV for you or whatever. And just to get everything ready. And then, then they bring you back to the recovery/prep room. The prep room is the same thing that you end up going back in where you're in recovery. It was a lot of curtains. There's a whole bunch of other people there, and there's just nurses running around everywhere that are obviously coming and going in and out of surgery. So you're close to your room. It's an important room. That's my experience anyway. So I remember I was laying there for a while. I got dressed. I put the gown on, took my underwear off, got to put the socks on. I love socks. I don't care even if they're the hospital socks because they're thick and they're comfortable. I just love socks. You meet your anesthesiologist. Also, for both surgeries, I ended up getting an email from my anesthesiologist, which was interesting. But they come and they talk to you and ask you, they start asking questions, any medals, any broken bones, any, pins or needles in your body. I think because of the surgery, the anesthesia, I'm not sure. So I was really nervous, and I had every right to be nervous. You're probably going to be nervous if you're going to be going through this, because for me, for example, it wasn't a necessity at the time as they saw it anyways, as my doctor saw it, that I needed it. Definitely know for a fact that I mean, my surgeon told me you're a perfect candidate and everything, and he said, he'd rather have me do it at 50 versus 30 just because the pouch will only last 20 years. And I'm not dying, let's say, quote unquote, dying at this point, okay, as far as they can see. He says, you're healthy, he goes, but you will be heading towards that point. So, eventually you'll need the surgery. So this was kind of more of my decision. And I was really lucky to have my surgeon and everybody, well, my surgeon and my parents and stuff back me up, because I was like, well, whatever, let's get it done now, because I'm done. I'm done living my life like this. So I was terrified. I thought I held myself well together, but my mom and my sister were there with me, and they were like, no, you're pretty scared. And I guess I was quiet, but I was crying. I think I froze for 1 minute to take a pre-op picture for my sister. But I was terrified, because you're getting an organ taken out of your body that you were born with. And I feel like you kind of have to mourn that a little bit, which is a stupid thing to say, but you do. This is, how different was my life going to be after this? How, I don't know. What if I was going to wake up in the middle of the surgery? What if I was going to die and start, those ridiculous thoughts, which weren't going to happen. But I was terrified. I was really scared because there's no going back. And the minute I wake up, I'm going to be a 100% different person. But I never thought about the recovery. Even when I was planning all of this, I never once thought about the recovery. So my anesthesiologist comes in or whatever, he's this cool older dude, starts talking to me, and okay, we're hooking you up. He gives me a bit of a sedative, which kind of made me a little wackadoodle. And so then he's, this is when I'm still in the recovery. My sister and my mom are right there. And he's like, okay, well, when we give you the anesthesia, you're going to feel it. It's going to start hurting real bad. It's going to hurt real bad. Like it's going to feel like your veins are on fire. And by the time that you can't handle it, that's when you're going to be knocked out. And I'm like, okay, totally wacky right now. I'm on a sedative. They're ready to pull me back. I start crying, and my mom is just crying, and my sister's crying. And my mom, I said, Mom, can you please pray for me? So my mom just puts her arms around me and hugs me and prays for me, prays for the surgeons and the doctors, and that everything will go smoothly. I go back there. I hear them start talking to each other. They're going to put my legs in stirrups. I hear them say that. I'm like, oh, please let me be out while you do that. I've seen pictures that they do that in surgery. I do not want to know what's going on. And all of a sudden I could feel that he started putting in the anesthesia because it started to burn. I didn't say anything until it started to burn. And I just kept going, oh my goodness, oh, you're right, this burns. And the point where it was getting the point where I couldn't take it, and then that's all I remember. Sure enough, I passed out. So then I woke up in recovery, and that was really hard to wake up from. Like, you're trying real hard to force yourself to wake up. And I guess my breathing was real shallow because your machine keeps beeping. They want you to take deep breaths. They kept coming and yelling at you to take deep breaths. I'm tired, dude. I can't take deep breaths, man. I'm groggy right now. So they eventually put a breather thing over me, which just made me feel better. My mom and sister came and said hi, fed me some ice chips, and then they had to leave. And my surgery was 5 hours long. And on the time that I was waiting there right before they brought me in my room, my surgeon came out to me. I'm all, hey, he goes, hey, guess what? We made the right decision. So he told me we made the right decision. He goes, your colon was 2/3 gone. It was gone. He says, if you started a new medication, you would have had 6 more months. So we made the right decision. So even though I was super groggy and everything at that moment, that took a huge weight off my shoulder that I made the right decision. I'm really thankful for that. Otherwise, I would have just suffered for a long time until it was emergency surgery time, and I would have been way off. So now the recovery part was extremely hard. I stayed in the hospital for, I left on the 8th day, so I pretty much stayed for 8 days. And I was nauseous most of the time. Really, really unbearably nauseous. And it could have been the anesthesia they gave me, or it could have been that I was rewired. It could have been a combo of things. Also, your pouch that they create inside, it keeps filling up with this fluid / mucus. Almost, the way they described it to me is almost like it's a blister. And how a blister heals, it just kind of automatically fills up with fluid. That's how they said your pouch is. And that made me nauseous because it's like you felt control over your muscles down there, but you didn't really have control. So I could just feel that stuff getting sucked up back. It's like it almost wanted to come out, and then it would suck back in my intestines, and you feel it go like this, and it just made me feel awful. So, and I was getting to the point where I was dramatic. I was like, I can't handle this anymore. I just want to die. Will somebody just kill me? Because being nauseous and feeling sick, and I just felt, I never thought about the recovery. I just was feeling just awful. And I'm pretty dramatic, but it was really bad. It was brutal. And so my surgeon came in and talked to me and told me that they did the biopsy on my colon. Thank God there was no cancer there, blah, blah, blah. Wanted to check how everything was going. And so he said, yeah, I'm going to have one of my nurses come in and drain some of that fluid that's in your J pouch out. And she had this big thing that had all this, it was like a measuring cup with all these mLs. It was like a bat bag and a big thick tube that she stuck up my butt. and drained it, drained it, drained it, drained it. I mean, the thing was probably that high and it was almost full. But then after that, I was happy as a clam. It was like, woo, but it kept filling up inside my pouch again. So I had to kind of figure out a way to come up with a routine to empty it since my muscles didn't work and everything. And then on top of that, I was in a lot of pain at first too. And it was the pain where the stoma was. That's where the pain was because I was so nauseous. I kept gagging, and gagging, you're using your muscles uncontrollably. So that hurt. They want you to get up and walk away, walk immediately, because the walking helps you heal faster. And that hurt to get up. But one of the very first things that they do give you in the hospital is, hey, do you want some gum? And I don't know why, but I was like, yeah, I love some gum. Gum is my, I love gum. So they give you like this doctor's, like they put their pills in like a little cup. They give you one of those that has 5 Trident sticks in it. Sure. That's to get your digestive system going, so that it kind of gets your air going. And this whole point, right after I woke up when they were doing that to me that night, I didn't really want to look at my area where my bag was. So finally, when they did give me the gum, I did decide to look. I had the bag on my right, and then when you have something called a JP drain, mine had a little slit that was hooked in my abdomen on my pubis bone, and has a drain. Basically, it's just, and the drain goes all the way in you to your back area. And I think it's just draining stuff from the J pouch, or it's that they created, or it's just draining stuff in general that's building up in your body from the surgery. But you have to have that the whole time. And then you have a catheter in too. So once I started chewing the gum, then I started making my stoma, started pushing out air. My stoma was farting. I was farting on my stomach, and it was really funny because your bag would just go up and inflate, and sometimes it would make the farting sound. So it was kind of funny, and like, that's good, that's good. The nurses like that. That's normal to them, although it was kind of embarrassing and funny, but whatever. So that happened. Then they wanted to start you eating later, and that's when I got really nauseous. I was trying to eat bananas because they wanted me to focus on food that would possibly thicken it up, but we didn't want to go too thick yet since everything was new. I ate bananas and applesauce. I had some peanut butter, and then they were supposed to bring you meals, and I have a gluten allergy, and I specifically tell them I have a gluten allergy, and gluten affects the small intestines. The diner place, the cooks don't know that they kept bringing me gluten, so it was kind of just this nightmare thing going on because I accidentally had a bite of one of the things. And, and then of course the nausea just kept hitting me nonstop. I had nights that were so bad. I was just on the floor crying. The nurses were being sweet to me. They kept bringing me Dilaudid every hour just to kind of put me out of my misery. And Dilaudid is like this injection, heavy dose medicine that just makes you, but it was the only thing that would give me peace. But then they also kind of figured out one of the things that could be kicking with my nausea was they were giving me Percocet. Percocet is Oxy and Tylenol mixed. And some people, that combo doesn't work really well. Did not work well with me. So once they stopped giving me that, my nausea went down a big time. And my sister was so sweet. She would come hang out with me every day. She sponge bathed me in the morning because I was so weak. I couldn't. I was probably 95 pounds in the hospital. And it just made me feel good to feel clean because you would have drainage coming from your bottom and it was blood. Sometimes in bed, there was a couple times some of that stuff, that mucus that I told you that builds up in your pouch would just uncontrollably leak out. I'd have all these sweats because I did break out in fevers here and there. So it was just awful. I threw up like the water and stuff that I would have here and there, and they would then put me off foods and then just keep me on the IVs. They were noticing my urine wasn't matching what the IVs were giving in me, because when they give you all these fluids, they want you to at least be peeing out the same amount or at least half of what the IVs are getting you. I wasn't putting out enough, so I was pretty dehydrated. It was just an awful mess, and so I was worried I wasn't even going to be able to get out of there. And I was so sad. I was just so sad because I just wanted a body that worked. That's all that I wanted. And I would just start crying at the tip of a hat. There was one point I was eating a banana and my sister was sitting there. And I think we turned on Christmas music because it was Christmas time and I couldn't be home and I wanted to. And I just, with half a banana in my mouth and the banana in my hand, I just started crying. You know, I would cry over everything. It was just really hard. And things got better, but you know, my sister then would leave at night. She was there, spend the whole day with me. She had a routine for me. After I ate, I'd have to get up and force myself to walk so my abdomen muscles can help me digest that food so I wouldn't get so nauseous. And then I would go lay down for 20 minutes because I wasn't getting sleep either. Then get up and try and, since my muscles were getting stronger, try and defecate some of the stuff that's building up in my pouch and then do it all over again. We had this cycle and it was working. And you had this bag on you. You kind of had to keep draining the JP drain and measure it. And you had to drain eventually once they taught you how. You would have to drain your own ostomy bag drain. And you'd have to measure it. And that grossed me out real bad because it would smell like the hospital food. Or once I wasn't really eating anything because I was so nauseous, it just smelled like bile because that's all you could produce. So that was really hard. Anyways, I started doing better towards the end once my sister got that routine with me. And I was lucky enough to be able to get out of the hospital Christmas Eve. I was really begging them because it was so bad. All I could do at night when I was there by myself, because I couldn't sleep at night and my back was in so much pain and I was so nauseous and I was so lonely and I was getting depressed, that all I could do was pray. And then I started singing because there was nothing else that I could do. At once I put on my, and most of you might not know who this is, my Matthew Ward, he has a worship album. I put on some of his stuff just because for me, I felt like that album specifically was a calling for me to worship at that moment. And so I just got myself out of bed to change positions, sat in one of the chairs, put that on, and I just cried while I sang with that just so I could worship. And I needed to, because what do you do when you're miserable? So that helped me quite a bit. So I really suggest having people there to help you. My sister was a godsend. I mean, I was so happy when she was there every morning, and she would bathe me and stay with me every day. And will always have me crying with the banana in my hand, the banana in my mouth as a joke. It was hilarious. After that, I got to go home with my mom, and I felt like going home with my mom was kind of easy. That was more independent. The nausea issues I really didn't have. Those finally eased up, but they did give me Ativan to take with me. So I think I was taking those, so that might have helped, but I know that it eased up big time. And I had way more control over the muscles in my bottom. So anytime that mucus would build up, you can feel it. Had an easier time defecating it. So I went home for a week with my mom. I felt like that was actually easy because I would move around. She had cats and dogs, and I'd walk around the house every time I ate. I kind of was on a routine. My mom was home for the whole week. I was happy-ish. It was nice. I had a hard time at night, though, sleeping because I was not comfortable. That's the hard thing, is you're just not comfortable after this surgery because you have this bag, and then you have to get up every night in the middle of the night to empty it. After a week of being at my mother's, I went home. So this is week 2. That's when things really started getting tough, because then my sister was there. I had a good weekend with my sister, but then I started realizing I don't have stamina. I don't have energy. I want energy. I need it. But it was like you were winded, like the air was knocked out of you. I had no strength at all, and I couldn't even walk across the whole house without having to take a breath. I would have to go to certain appointments, though, because I was still trying to finish my my disability through the state, which is hard and takes forever. I wish I set that up way ahead of time, but I wasn't believing I was going to be getting this surgery. So I was constantly having to go to Kaiser and talk to their medical files people, and then I had appointments, but I would have to stop when I was in line and literally bend down on a knee and go like that because I just couldn't do anything. Everything took everything out of me. And I would have to call this. I did appreciate a man in my surgeon's team. I had to call him every day after I left the hospital at 10 a.m. on the dot. just to get my output, how high my output was, because during this time you're trying to see what your output looks like. Is it going to be too watery? Is it going to be thick? You want it to be thick, and the thickest that it's ever going to be without a colon is it's going to be like pudding. Sorry, you know. And then you're going to figure out which things bother you. Certain things can give you a bit of a burn around your stoma, so you know that might give you a little burn around your bottom if it goes out that way. Or you could get blockages. I found out refried beans don't do well with me. Beans kind of cling to each other, so I get a partial blockage, and that hurts. So this whole time you're trying to figure out what it's like, and you're trying to figure out what your level of medication, which would be Metamucil or Imodium, that you're going to have to take, getting in a good routine for that day to day. So I would be taking, you know, my nurse that I call every night, he says, well, if it gets really high at this point, at this time of night, take like a half a teaspoon of Metamucil to help thicken it up. That way it won't go past 1,000. So I was doing that, but I was still so tired. So I had an appointment with my ostomy nurse, and I was exhausted when I went and saw her. And she said, are you taking your Imodium? And I was like, no. And she said, I want you to start taking it morning and night. I went home, took one, and it was like within an hour I had energy. I don't know why. The Imodium slows your bowels down, so maybe it slowed it down enough to the point where I was able to absorb nutrients from the food that I was eating. I'm not sure. I don't take a full one morning and night anymore because that was just ended up being too much for me. You feel really bloated afterwards if you take too much. So I sometimes take a half a pill in the morning and then maybe a little Metamucil at night. It all depends. I'm still trying to figure it out. I forgot to add in one thing too. Now I'm in my living room watching the Oscars. So I totally forgot to add in that there is, and this isn't like this with everybody, pardon me, I just burped. How gross. You kind of have to figure out your food thing too right away when you start eating again, because things go through you 10 times fast. So I had a lot of sugar level problems. I would become have low glycemic, like so it's good to have little orange juice carts around. And I realized that when I went to go see my ostomy nurse, and I was like, oh my God, I'm hungry all of a sudden. It doesn't creep up on you. It just slaps you in the face. You're hungry right now. Your body's telling you you're hungry, and it's not, there was no warning. It just hit you. And you ate in time, you would have thought, like you do normally, but it just made you real dizzy. It makes you nauseous. You're just going to pass out. So my ostomy nurse went and got me an orange juice, and it just brings you back to life, but it's kind of temporary. So you have low glycemic problems. So I had to figure that out. I make sure I eat protein with every meal. That's something that you're going to have to figure out. It's not like that with everybody, as I was reading people's experiences on jpouch.org, but I would prepare by having orange juice with you, because orange juice, out of all the juices, are the best ones to bring your levels back up, your sugar levels back up, so you feel sane and you're not nauseous anymore. Make sure you have meat. If you're a vegetarian, make sure you have some kind of protein on you all the time. And then again, like I said, you're going to have to figure out your own diet. Like eggs go through me really fast. They don't hold over. It's a learning experience, but that's different with everybody. The things that you need to have in your house at all time is applesauce, some kind of peanut butter or almond butter, bananas, things that can thicken up your stool. And then once you're able to figure out what you can eat, just little bit by little, it's all touch and feel. Everybody's different. It's all trial and error. So sorry I added this clip back in. I'll let you get back to the video. Bye. This is a good time when you have your bag, is to find out what trigger foods are that are going to just make your output really high, which would be a version of diarrhea, I guess. So yeah. So I finally kind of stopped getting as winded once I did that. I was able to go to the grocery store with my sister, which is a 5-block walk away, but it still was like, I gotta slowly do it. I gotta slowly do it. I just was exhausted. It took me, I think, about 8 weeks, probably 2 weeks until my takedown surgery to feel fine, to do some things on my own. It took a while. But I was still towards the end, just kind of trying to figure out my output. But I got it pretty well, and you'd have to write it down every day. Then you also would have to be responsible for changing your own bags. Now, I don't know how it works with anybody else's insurance. My insurance covered all the bags, which is great. They sent me home with a box. I went through a company called Hollister, so they sent me home with a box that comes with, about 7 bags, I believe. And then when I got home, I got this huge cardboard box sent to me through the mail that had about 10 of these boxes in there. So that lasted me the majority of the time. And then maybe 3 weeks before my takedown, I got another huge box from in the mail. But they call you. It's an automated call. Like, they are on top of it. And you could cancel your thing. So I told the last time they called me, because I got the second box because I knew I would need 1 or 2 bags out of that huge box before my takedown. But I did talk to her and I said, I'll need to cancel the next one. She goes, well, congratulations on your surgery. She goes, but just in case how the surgery goes, let's not cancel it. Wait till I call you again, and then we'll cancel it since you've already had the surgery and if things are great. So they're really great. But they teach you in the hospital how to change your bag. That's something that I was really terrified about. And I think you can order different bags. These were just the ones that they had for me. They told me I could order different ones, but because I knew I wasn't going to be having the Ostomy bag on that long, I didn't care that they were clear. I think most people would rather get one that wasn't clear. I didn't care, just because I wasn't going to be showing it around. I was not going to, if I was out of the house, I had my Ostomy underwear that I could do, or I'd wear long shirts. I didn't care. So your ostomy nurse teaches you how to, also when she measures you, she kind of teaches you about this. It kind of goes out of your brain again, but you relearn when you're in the hospital, and you can always call your ostomy nurse if you do, and they put a new one on you when you're in the hospital 2 or 3 times, I think. They did for me 2 times. And then it comes with this, so you can measure your stoma. Mine was an ileostomy, so here's your intestine. They cut it in half, they put it out. The one where all the food was coming out of was pushed out a little bit farther. This one was underneath a little bit. This one eventually in the bottom towards the end kind of goes in. You don't see it anymore, but that's what that looks like. And it's going to be really swollen at first. So your stoma is going to be changing sizes over time until you don't need this anymore. I think originally I was probably this one when I left the hospital. Maybe, no, I was a 32. Like, it was pretty big. And I thought that was small, but it was pretty big. And then it was 29. And then I finally, when mine became normal, I ended up just being the regular 22. Like, mine got pretty tiny. So what you do is, I like to lay on my back. I had a whole kit. They send you home with something like this. Great, because it's designed for waist so you can bring it on airplanes, and they gave you this whole spiel, which I don't remember, is that it is okay to bring it on airplanes because this does come with scissors, and you're going to need the scissors to change your bag. You are. So there's some way that they're going to have to be okay with it. It comes with like a disposable plastic bags for you. It comes with a little flat mirror for you. It comes with these. It comes with directions on how to change your pouch, bags over here, and then areas so you can keep some of your ostomy bags in here if you're traveling. So it's a really good kit. I decided to just keep it anyways afterwards for when I'm at work and stuff, because I'm going to have kits for not obviously a bag, but when I go to the bathroom now as a J-poucher, it's a new life. Like, I'm going to need squirt bottles with me since I can't bring a bidet with me everywhere. I have poopery with me, which I should have brought the poopery in here for my bathroom to show you guys, because that will be important during your ostomy days too. Anyways, but yeah, so it's a really cool kit. So I have that. So what I would do is I would always change my bag in the mornings after a shower. I would usually take my showers at night because you would get your bag wet, and the back of the bag is mesh, even though there's like plastic underneath it, and it will dry, but I don't like, it will dry over time, but I don't like feeling that mesh, that wet feeling on my clothes or in my nice ostomy underwear if I like to tuck it. So I always would take my showers at night. And yeah, first time I tried to tie like a plastic bag around it, it's too much work and it got on my nerves. Water got in the bag and whatever. So I took my baths at night. I would change the bag every 2 or 3 days. And then when I figured out doing, and I didn't do this until later towards the end, when I would take my baths or my showers at night and it would get my bag all wet, I would get a good thing of dry paper towels and I would just fold this up and I would tuck it while it's hooked to me, obviously, and just really tuck paper towel around it while I'm putting lotion all over my body. And it'd soak most of the water out to the point where this is just barely damp and it'd be mostly dry, so then your clothes wouldn't be so wet for a while. And the wetness wouldn't last that long. It was just annoying to me. So the days that I would change my bag, I would take my showers in the morning so I could really feel clean. So I would make sure I would do that before I do anything, because if you're changing your bag, you don't want to do it just after you eat. You want to do it 2 hours before you eat. So you want to have an empty stomach, because you don't want to have this off your stoma, and you don't want your stoma to stop pooping up a storm going on your skin. That just is no fun. So I would prepare is I would lay out a towel on my bed. This is before my shower. Lay out a towel on my bed, get a huge good wad of paper towels that are soaked in warm water and squeezed pretty well, and then have regular paper towels next to them, a trash bag, and then I'd have my kit ready, and then I would have I would already pre-draw. This was towards the end because I didn't change sizes with my stoma at this point, so I would already just pre-draw and pre-trim my little hole so I wouldn't have to do that laying down. In the beginning, I would have to measure it. With this, you literally would have to just put it over your stoma. I would use a mirror since I was laying on my back, and then find the right one, and then measure it and cut it. You'd have to do that with your bag off. But since mine didn't change for like the last month, I didn't have to do that. So I'd get that all prepped ahead of time. So then I'd go take my shower, I'd scrub real well everywhere, shave, blah, 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 whatever. Then I'd dry off real well. Before I put on body lotion or anything, I was gonna change my bag. I also had hand sanitizer wipes, which is kind of gross, but I had those here too. So I'd start off by peeling my sticker off. You throw, get the whole bag thing off, throw it in the bag or the trash bag, take the clip off. I would change clips every time I would get a new box, because each box would have a new clip. So every like 10 bag change, I would throw away the clip. The clip is what you do on the bottom to keep this up and preventing poop from falling. So I would basically, then I would take that off, and I take a wet paper towel, one of the ones that I had prepared, wipe really well where the Ostomy sticker was, clean off my stoma a little bit because it probably had a little stuff on it, throw that away, and then just get that until it looked good. Pat dry with one of the dry paper towels, and then I would take one of the hand sanitizer wipes and really clean around my stoma. I wouldn't clean the stoma, you don't want to put that on there, but I would clean around it, and then I pat dry it real well, get another clean wet paper towel, get that residue off. I just want it perfect so it would stick well, and then pat dry. Then since I already had this all measured, I'd peel off the stickers, pop it on, press it where it needs to be pressed, because this is all warm, or activates by warmth from your hand, the sticker there. And then flip it up, clip, I'm good to go. Now I put on my body lotion. You feel great. Getting a clean bag on feels like taking a shower. It just feels great. So I would do that every 3 days. Towards the end, I just started doing it every 2 days because, to be honest, I hated having a bag. And then the other thing that I wish I did earlier, I just did this in the last month. Every time I would empty my bag, and you'd have to measure it, write it down, before I close it off, I would clean my bag out with a Dixie cup. So I would get like the bigger size Dixie cups. So you'd fold your bag up like this when you're gonna empty it. But you don't wanna have this bag that's just still full of random crap everywhere. I wanted to feel clean somehow. So what I would do is I just rinse it with water, dump it out, rinse it with water, dump it out until it was pretty much clean. Really, really clean it with paper towel. And then you have a clean area, and you have mostly clean area here, so you can still clip it up pretty high. So that became easy. And it got to the point too, especially the last, I'd say 3 to 4 weeks, I started getting more comfortable with the bag. Sleeping was easier. I could sleep on my side better. I wasn't just such a nuisance. I could definitely get used to the bag. So like I said in my last video, if I end up having to go back and be an ostomate, you know what? I could still live a full life. I'm not gonna like it at first, but I'll get used to it. I already was starting to find things that made life easier being, a ostomate. So, and there's people that do it all the time. I'm happy where I am now. I'm still figuring things out, but when I was going through this and knowing I was going to have to do the surgery, then I started preparing for what I needed to do for that surgery. So my next video will be all about preparing. It'll be mainly preparing for the surgery, because I have got to tell you, I am not even a week out from my takedown surgery, but all the preps that I purchased and bought and made for myself and brought with me to the hospital and had ready for me when I was at home, I'm so happy about, because now I'm not lost. The worst thing is you don't want to be just this wolf out in the dark all alone and not know what to do in certain situations. That was my biggest fear. I don't want to do that. So, yeah, I'm going to share with you what I did, the things I bought. I'll have links to where you could buy things. Yeah. So anyways, if anyone has any questions, I got to edit this video, but if anyone has any questions, say them below, message me, whatever you need to do. I hope this helped you. Again, though, what helped me a couple times when I was having my hardest time going through my 8 weeks of hell, it was my 8 weeks of hell coming out of the surgery. I was really depressed. I had to force myself not to wallow in it, but I would go to jpouch.org and I would search for things, or I finally just asked a question that I was battling with and people answered it right away and they made me feel better. There is a huge support system out there. So you're not alone. When you're depressed, it's okay. There's other people that have been depressed too, but I mean, you might not go through bad of a time as me. You might go through something that's worse than me. But either way, you're gonna get through it. You have to tell yourself you're gonna get through it. People have done it and they've done worse. So good luck. If you have any questions, again, mention some at the bottom and wait for my next video. It'll be tomorrow and it's going to be all about preparing for the takedown surgery, and the new days of the takedown surgery. So I hope you enjoyed my video. Have a good day. Bye.